to the conclusion that one useless man is called a disgrace, that two are called a law firm, and that three or more become a Congress. And by God, I have had this Congress. For 10 years, King George and his parliament have gold-cullied and diddled these colonies with illegal taxes. Stamp Acts, Townshend Acts, Sugar Acts, Tea Acts. And when we dared stand up like men, they've stopped our trade, seized our ships, blockaded our ports, burned our towns, and spilled our blood. And still this Congress refuses to grant any of our proposals on independence, even so much as the courtesy of open debate. Good God, what the hell are they waiting for? Sit down, John. Sit down, John. For God's sake, John, sit down. Sit down, John. Sit down, John. For God's sake, John, sit down. Open up a window. It's blindless rains. Have mercy, John, please. It's hot as hell in Philadelphia. Open up a window. I say, Lord, yes. Lord, yes. Lord, independence. Open up a window. I say, Lord, yes. Sit down, John. Lord, independence. Open up a window. No, no, no. Too many lies. Too many lies. But it's hot as hell in Philadelphia. Open up a window. Can't become lies here. Lord, yes. No, too many lies here. Lord, yes. For God's sake, John, sit down. Good God, consider yourselves fortunate that you have John Adams to abuse, but I'll say man would tolerate it. John, you're a whore. We've heard this before. For God's sake, John, sit down. Lord, yes. No. Lord, yes. No. Lord, for independence. Open up a window. I say, Lord, yes. Sit down, John. Lord, for independence. Will someone shut that man up? Never! Never! Dear God, for one solid year, they have been sitting here, a whole year, doing nothing! I do believe you laid a curse on North America, a curse that we hear now rehearsing Philadelphia. A second flood, a sinful famine, plagues of locusts everywhere, or a cataclysmic earthquake. I accept some despair, but no, you sent us Congress. Good God, sir, was that fair? I say this with humility, Philadelphia. With your responsibility, Philadelphia. If you don't want to see us hanging from some far-off British hill, if you don't want the voice of independency forever still, then God, sir, get thee to it, for Congress never will. You see, we piddle, twiddle, and resolve, not one damn thing do we solve. Piddle, twiddle, and resolve, nothing's ever solved. Foul, offended, human, bargain, filthy, Philadelphia. Why don't you open up the window? Oh, shut up!
I call the Congress's attention to a petition of a Mr. Melchior Mann, who claims $20 compensation for his dead mule. It seems the animal was employed transporting luggage in the service of the Congress.
The question would then seem to be one of occasion, for if the mule died not while carrying, but after being unloaded, then of course the beast died on its own time.
Oh, good God! They may sit here for years and years in Philadelphia. These indecisive grenadiers of Philadelphia. They can't agree on Oh, Abigail, I have such a desire to knock heads together.
Oh, I know, my dearest, I know. But that's because you make everything so complicated. It's all quite simple, really. Just tell the Congress to declare independency. Then sign your name, get out of there, and hurry home to me. Our children all have dysentery. Little Tom keeps turning blue. Little Abby has the measles, and I'm coming down with flu. They say we may get smallpox.
Madam, what else is new? Abigail, in my last letter I told you the king had collected 12,000 German mercenaries to send against us. I asked you to organize the latest to make saltpeter for gunpowder. Now have you done as I asked?
No, John, I have not.
Why have you not?
Because you neglected to tell us how saltpeter is made.
By treating sodium nitrate with potassium chloride, of course.
Oh, of course.
Will it be done then?
I'm afraid we have a more urgent problem, John.
More urgent, madam.
There's one thing every woman's missed in Massachusetts Bay. Don't smirk at me, you egotist pay. Heed to what I say. We've been from Framingham to Boston, and we cannot find a pin. Don't you know that here's a war on, says each tradesman with a grin. We will not make saltpeter until you send us pins.
Pins, madam. Saltpeter.
Pins.
Saltpeter.
Pins.
Saltpeter. Saltpeter. Peter. 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 Done, madam. Done.
Done, John. Hurry home, John.
Oh, as soon as I'm able.
Don't stop writing. It's all I have.
Every day, my dearest friend.
Till then, till that's all I ever was, and ever shall be.
You.
Right here, John, being preserved for posterity. Do you like it?
It stinks.
As ever, the soul of tact.
Well, the man is no botticher.
And the subject's no fees.
Franklin, you heard what I suffered in there?
Oh, I heard, John, all right, along with the rest of Philadelphia. Lord, your voice is piercing, John.
Wish to heaven my arguments were. My God, Franklin, when will they make up their mind? With one hand, they can raise an army, dispatch one of their own to lead it, and share the news from Bunker's Hill. While with the other, they wave the olive branch, begging the king for a happy and permanent reconciliation. Why, damn it, Fat George has declared us in rebellion. Why in bloody hell can't they?
John, really? You talk as if independence were the rule. It's never been done before. No colony has ever broken away from the parents that have history of the world.
Franklin, you make us sound treasonous.
Do I? Treason. Treason is a charge invented by winners as an excuse for hanging the losers.
I have more to do than stand here listening to you quote yourself.
No, that was a new one, John.
Franklin, we're at war.
To defend ourselves, nothing more. We expressed our displeasure, the English moved against us, and we in turn have resisted. Now our fellow congressmen want to effect a reconciliation before it becomes a war.
Reconciliation, my ass. The people want independence.
The people have read Mr. Paine's common sense. I doubt very much the Congress has. John, Why don't you give it up? No one listens to you. You're obnoxious and disliked.
I'm not promoting John Adams. I'm promoting independence.
Evidently, they can't help but connecting the two.
What are you suggesting?
John, let someone else in Congress propose.
Never! Why? Who'd you have in mind?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't given it much thought.
You sent for me, Benjamin.
Never.
Hello, Johnny.
Richard. Yes, Johnny needs some advice.
It's mine to give you. It's yours, you know that.
Yes, thank you. As you know, the cause that we support has come to a complete standstill. Now, what do you suppose that is?
That's simple. Johnny here is obnoxious and disliked.
Yes, that's true. But what's the solution, I wonder?
Get someone else to make the proposal.
That's brilliant, Richard. Wasn't that brilliant, John?
Brilliant.
Now, the question is, who can it be? The man we need must come from a delegation publicly committed to support independence. And at the present time, only Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Delaware have declared our way.
And Virginia, Benji. Don't forget Virginia.
Oh, I couldn't, Richard. How could I? But strictly speaking, though Virginia's views on independence are well known, your legislature in Williamsburg has never formally authorized this delegation here in Congress to support the cause. Of course, if we could find a Virginian with enough influence to go down there and persuade the House of Burgesses.
Tell me if I haven't thought of someone.
Oh,
Me!
no, I did not think of that.
Hell, I'll leave tonight. I'll leave right now, if you like. I'll go to Stratford and refresh the missus, and I'll get straight to the matter. Virginia, the land that gave us our glorious commander-in-chief, George Washington, will now give the continent its proposal on independence. And when Virginia proposes, the South will follow. And when the South goes, the middle counties go. Gentlemen, a salute to Virginia, the mother of American independence.
Incredible! We're free and he hasn't even left yet. What makes you so sure you can do it?
Ha! My name is Richard Henry Lee. Virginia is my home. My name is Richard Henry Lee. Virginia is my home. And may my horses turn blue if I can come to you for a solution on independence. If the family is the sovereign policy of Virginia. Yes, oldest family is the oldest policy in America. And may the British burn my land if I can't let you have a resolution on independence. You see, it's very, very, socially, politically, financially, naturally, internally, externally, fraternally, internally, everything. The first family is the sovereign colony of Virginia. And may my wife refuse my bed if I can't deliver the same resolution on independence.
Spoken modestly. God help us.
Oh, he will, John, he will. Say that God in heaven is everybody's God.
Amen.
I admit that God in heaven is everybody's God. But I tell you, John McBride, God leans a little on the side of the leaves of old Virginia. You see his verily, look out, there's awfully, Bobby Lee, General Lighthorse Harry Lee, Jesse Lee, Willie Lee, and Richard A. That's me. And may my blood stop running blue if I can't deliver up to you a resolution on independence. God is
the most revolting display I ever witnessed.
John, they're a warm-blooded people, Virginians.
Not him, Franklin. You and your infernal obsession for deviousness. If you'd have come right out and asked him straight, he'd have been gone a half hour ago.
Cheer up, John. Our cause is again riding high, sitting straight in the saddle and in full gallop for Virginia.
And our women are serene, full bosom, full bosom, Benji, everyone a queen, 'cause they are Lee's gallant, Lee's of Virginia. Let it go.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I'm Dr. Lyman Hall, a new delegate from Georgia.
I'm Andrew McNair, Congressional Custodian. If you be wanting anything at all, just holler out McNair's. You'll hear all the others do, and it won't be too long to wait.
Where does the Georgia delegation belong?
Oh, they mill about over in that corner over there near the two Carolinas. It's after 10. I was told the Congress convenes at 10. Yeah, they'll be wandering in any time now, sir, with old Raven Guts leading the pack.
Oh, who?
McNair! Fetch me a rum. Mr. Hopkins, you'll be pleased to meet Dr. Lyman Hall.
I don't need a doctor, damn it.
New delegate from Georgia.
Well, why didn't you say so, man? I'm Stephen Hopkins, old delegate from Rhode Island. McNair, 2 rums.
Here, it's a little early for that.
Oh, nonsense. Why, it's a medicinal fact that rum gets a man's heart started in the morning. I thought you'd know that. And speaking as the oldest member of Congress...
Ben Franklin's older by almost a year.
Rum! Tell me, Dr. Hall, where does Georgia stand on the question of independence?
With South Carolina, come.
Oh, hey, good morning, Nettie. I want you to shake the hand of Dr. Lyman Hall from Georgia. This here's Edward Rutledge from, whatever Carolina it is he says he's from. God knows I can never keep it straight.
A pleasure, Dr. Hall. Your servant, Mr. Rutledge.
And now you've met the long and the short of it. And Nettie here's only 26, and he's the youngest of us.
Except for Ben Franklin.
McNair! Get around! Where the hell you go for it, man? Jamaica?
Tell me, Dr. Hall, where does Georgia stand on the question of independence at the present time?
I'm here without instructions, able to vote my own personal convictions.
And they are.
Personal.
Dr. Hall of the Deep South speaks with one voice. It's traditional, even more than it's historical. Ex Delaware, trajecta in una.
Speak plainly, Rutledge. You know I cannot follow none of your darn French.
Latin, Colonel McKean, a tribute to the eternal peace and harmony of the Delaware's delegation.
What you're saying, man, you know perfectly well neither rocking nor I can stand to still watch.
Gentlemen, I'd like you to meet Dr. Lyman Hall of Georgia, Caesar Rodney, George Reed, and Colonel Thomas McKean.
Where do you stand on independence, sir?
With South Carolina, it seems. Gentlemen, I leave the doctor in your excellent company.
Tell me, Dr. Hall, to be a doctor of medicine or of theology?
Both, Mr. Rutledge. Which one might be of service?
By all means, the position first. Then we shall see about the other.
I shall call at your convenience.
I trust, Caesar, after through converting the poor fellow to independence, you'll give the opposition a fair crack at him.
You're too late, John. Once I get him, they're gone. Dr. Lyman Hall of Georgia, Mr. John Dickinson of Pennsylvania.
Ah, sir.
Yes, sir.
Judge Wilson, forgive me. But how can anyone see if you insist on standing in Mr. Dickinson's shadow? James Wilson, also of Pennsylvania. Sir.
Why'd you get out of my way? Out of my way. Morning all. Morning.
Good Lord, you have the honor to be Dr. Franklin?
Yes, I have that honor. Unfortunately, the gout accompanies the honor. Morning, Stephen. Morning, Ben. Been a little too high again, huh? Hey, old fella. Yes, I only wish King George felt like my big toe. All over. McNair, fetch him a pillow. And 2 more bucks of rum.
Well, Franklin, where's that idiot Lee? Has he returned yet?
Softly, John. Your voice is hurting my foot.
One more day, Franklin. That's how long I'll remain silent, and not a minute longer. That Strutty Popinjay was so damn sure of himself, he's had time to bring back a dozen proposals by now.
Tell me, James, how do you explain the strange monumental quietude that Congress has been treated to these past 30 days? Has the ill wind of independence finally blown itself out? Well, for myself, I must confess that a month free from New England noise is more therapeutic than a month in the country. Don't you agree, James? Mr. Adams, pray look for your voice, sir. It cannot be far, and God knows we need the entertainment of this Congress.
Well, congratulations, John. You've just made your greatest contribution to independence. You kept your flap shut.
One more day.
What, John?
Gentlemen, the usual morning festivities concluded, I will now call the Congress to order. Mr. Thompson.
The Second Continental Congress meeting in the city of Philadelphia is now in session. The 7th of June, 1776. The 380th meeting.
Sweet Jesus.
The Honorable John Hancock of Massachusetts Bay, President.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. McNair, the stores of rum and other drinking spirits are hereby closed to the colony of Rhode Island for a period of 3 days.
Yes, sir.
John, you can't do that.
Sit down, Mr. Hopkins. You've abused the privilege. The chair takes this opportunity to welcome Dr. Lyman Hall of Georgia to this Congress. Hopes he makes the best of it. My God, it's hot. The secretary will read the roll.
All members present with the following exceptions. Mr. Charles Carroll of Maryland, Mr. Samuel Adams of Massachusetts, Mr. Button Gwinnett of Georgia, Mr. George Wythe and Mr. Richard Henry Lee of Virginia, and the delegation of New Jersey.
I'm concerned over the continued absence of 1/13 of this Congress. Where is New Jersey?
Somewhere between New York and Pennsylvania.
Thank you very much. Dr. Franklin, have you heard anything? Your son resides there.
Son, sir, what son?
Royal Governor of New Jersey, sir.
As that title may suggest, sir, we are not in touch at the present time.
Yes, well, the weather report. Mr. Jefferson of Virginia. Mr. Jefferson,
Present, sir.
may we hear about the weather? As if it weren't speaking for itself.
87 degrees of temperature, 30.06 inches of mercury, wind from the southwest for the rest of the day. And tonight, I'm leaving for home.
On business?
Family business. Give her a good one for me there, young fella.
From the Commander, Army of the United Colonies in New York, dispatch number 1137.
Ah, sweet Jesus.
To the Honorable Congress, John Hancock, President. Dear Sir, it is with grave apprehension that I have learned this day of the sailing from Halifax, Nova Scotia, of a considerable force of British troops in the company of foreign mercenaries and under the command of General Sir William Howe. There can be no doubt that their destination is New York. For to take hold of the city and the Hudson Valley beyond would serve to separate New England from the other colonies, permitting both sections to be crushed in turn. Sadly, I see no way of stopping them at the present time, as my army is absolutely falling apart. My military chest is totally exhausted, my commissary general has drained his credit to the last, my quartermaster has no food, no arms, no ammunition, and my troops are in a state of near mutiny. I pray God some relief arise before the Armada, but fear it will not. Your obedient, G. Washington.
Mr. President,
General McCain,
surely we've managed to promote the gloomiest man on this continent to the head of our troops. Those dispatches are the most distressing accumulation of disaster, doom, and despair in the entire annals of military history.
General McCain, please.
What?
It's too hot.
Oh, yes, I suppose so.
General Washington will continue wording his dispatches as he sees fit. And I'm sure we all pray that he finds happier thoughts to convey in the near future. Mr. Thompson, are there any resolutions?
Dr. Josiah Bartlett of New Hampshire.
Resolved that for the duration of the present hostilities, this Congress discourage every type of extravagance and dissipation, elaborate funerals, and other expensive diversions, especially all forms of horse racing.
Benji, I'm back! I'm back, Johnny!
Richard, please, let's slow down.
No, Sticky Boy, please, it's Tom! First things first, Tom, where's Tom? Tom, the little bride would like to know... What? When's he coming home?
I leave tonight.
Never mind that, is it done? Done? Why, certainly. Mr. President, I have returned to the sovereign colony of Virginia with the following resolution. Resolved that these united colonies are, and of a right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. Mr. President, I second the proposal.
The resolution has been proposed and seconded. The chair will now entertain debate.
Mr. President, Pennsylvania moves that the question of independence be postponed indefinitely.
I second the motion.
What? Judge Wilson, and your eagerness to be loved, you seem to have forgotten that Pennsylvania cannot second its own motion.
Delaware seconds.
Oh, what, you little weasel?
The motion has been moved and seconded. Mr. Thompson.
On the motion to postpone indefinitely the resolution on independence ought to proceed with the debate. All those in favor of debate say yea. All those for postponement say nay. New Hampshire.
New Hampshire favors debate and says yea.
New Hampshire says yea. Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, having toll on the front of the kingdom. Yes, I said tyranny. Massachusetts now and for all time says yea.
Massachusetts says yea. Rhode Island. Mr. Hopkins. Where's Rhode Island?
Rhode Island's out visiting the necessary.
After what Rhode Island's consumed, I can't say I'm surprised. Welcome back to him, Mr. Thompson.
Rhode Island passes.
While Connecticut has, till now, been against this proposal, our legislature has instructed me that in the event it is introduced by any colony outside of New England, Connecticut can no longer withhold its support. Connecticut says yea.
Connecticut says yea. New York.
Mr. Secretary, New York abstains courteously.
New York abstains.
Courteously.
New Jersey.
Absent, Mr. Secretary.
Oh, yes, New Jersey is absent. Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania for the 24th time says nay.
Pennsylvania says nay. Delaware.
Delaware, as ever for independence, says yea.
Delaware says yea. Maryland.
Maryland would welcome independence if it were given, but is highly skeptical that it can be taken. Maryland says nay.
Maryland says nay. Virginia.
Virginia, the first colony, says yea.
Virginia says yea. North Carolina.
North Carolina respectfully yields to South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Mr. President, although we in South Carolina have never seriously considered the question of independence, when a gentleman proposes it, attention must be paid. However, we, unlike our friends in New England, have no cause for impatience at the present time. It if at some future date it becomes the wish of all our sister colonies to effect a separation, South Carolina will not stand in the way. But for the time being, South Carolina will wait and watch. The vote is nay.
South Carolina says nay.
South Carolina
says nay. Yes, Mr. Hughes, I know. Georgia.
Georgia? Mr. Secretary, Georgia seems to be split right down the middle on this issue. The people are against it, and I'm for it. I'm afraid I'm not yet certain whether representing the people means relying on their judgment or on my own. So in all fairness, until I can figure it out, I'd better lean a little toward their side. Georgia says nay.
Georgia says nay. Rhode Island. Second call, Rhode Island.
I'm coming. Oh, the damn horses. Think Congress should have its own business.
We're waiting on you, Mr. Hopkins.
Yes, and it won't kill you. Oh, very well. Where does she stand?
5 for debate, 5 for abstention, 1 absence, and 1 absence.
So it's up to me, is it? Well, I'll tell you. In all my years, I've never heard, seen, nor smelled an issue that was so dangerous it couldn't be talked about. Hell yes, I'm for debating anything. Rhode Island says yay.
Yeah. Give Mr. Hopkins a rub.
But you said that...
Eat him the whole damn barrel if you want.
Yes.
The chair now declares this Congress as a committee of the whole for the purpose of debating Virginia's resolution on independence. Mr. Dickinson?
Well now, you've got your way at last, Mr. Adams. The matter may now be discussed. I confess I'm almost relieved. There's a question I've been fairly itching to ask you. Why?
Why what, Mr. Dickinson?
Why independence, Mr. Adams?
For the obvious reason that our continued association with Great Britain has grown intolerable.
To whom, Mr. Adams? To you? Then I suggest you sever your ties immediately. But please be kind enough to leave the rest of us where we are. Personally, I have no objections at all to being part of the greatest empire on earth, to enjoying its protection and sharing in its benefits.
Benefits? What benefits? Crippling taxes, cruel repressions, abolished rights?
Is that all England means to you, sir? Is that all the affection and pride you can muster for the nation that bore you? For the noblest, most civilized nation on the face of this planet? Would you have us forsake Hastings and Magna Carta? Strongbow and Lionhearted? Drake and Marlborough? Tudors? Stuarts? Plantagenets? For what, sir? Tell me for what? For you? Oh, some men are patriots, like General Washington. And some are anarchists, like Mr. Paine. Some even are internationalists, like Dr. Franklin. But you, sir, you are merely an agitator. Disturbing the peace, creating disorder, endangering the public welfare, and for what? Your petty little personal complaints. Your taxes are too high. Well, sir, so are mine. Come, Mr. Adams, if you have grievances. And I'm sure you have. Our present system must provide a gentler means of redressing them. Short of revolution. That's what he wants. Nothing short of it will satisfy him. Violence. Rebellion. Treason. Now, Mr. Adams, are these the acts of Englishmen?
Not Englishmen, Dickinson. Americans!
No, sir. Please, Mr. Dickinson, must you start begging? How is a man to sleep? Forgive me, Dr. Franklin, but must you start speaking? How is a man to stay awake?
If I were to be called an Englishman, sir, I assure you I'd much rather remain asleep.
Oh, what's so terrible about being called an Englishman? The English don't seem to mind.
Nor would I, were I given the full rights of an Englishman. But to be called one without those rights is like calling an ox a bull. He's thankful for the honor, but he'd much rather have restored what's rightfully his.
When did you first notice they were missing, sir? Fortunately, Dr. Franklin, the people of these colonies maintain a higher regard for their mother country.
Higher, certainly, than she feels for them. Never has such a valuable possession been so stupidly and recklessly managed as this entire continent by the British Crown. Our industry discouraged, our resources pillaged, and worst of all, our very character stifled. We've spawned a new race here, rougher, simpler, more violent, more enterprising and less refined. We're a new nationality, Mr. Dickinson. We require a new nation.
That may be your opinion, Dr. Franklin. But as I said, the people feel quite differently.
Now, what do you know about the people, Dickinson? You don't speak for the people, you represent only yourself. And that precious status where you keep imploring the people to preserve for their good is nothing more than the eternal preservation of your own property.
Mr. Adams, you have an annoying talent for making such delightful words as property sound quite distasteful. In heaven's name, what's wrong with property? Perhaps you've forgotten that many of us first came to these shores in order to secure rights to property, and that we hold those rights no less dear than the rights you speak of.
So safe, so fat, so comfortable in Pennsylvania.
And what is this independence of yours except for the private grievance of Massachusetts? Why is it always Boston that breaks the king's peace? My dear Congress, you must not adopt this evil measure. It is the work of the devil. Leave it where it belongs. In New England.
Brother Dickinson, New England has been fighting the devil for more than 100 years.
And as of now, Brother Sherman, the devil has been winning hands down. Why, at this very moment, he is sitting here in Congress. Don't let him deceive you. This proposal is entirely his doing.
Just a minute.
Oh, it may bear Virginia's name, but it reeks of Adams. Adams and more Adams. Look at him. Ready to lead this continent on the fiery path of total destruction.
Oh, good God, why can't you acknowledge what already exists? It's been more than a year since Concord and Lexington. Damn it, man, we're at war right now.
You may be at war. You, Boston and John Adams. But you will never speak for Pennsylvania.
Nor for Delaware.
Mr. Reed, you represent only 1/3 of Delaware.
The sensible third, Mr. Rodney.
Sit down, you little roach, I'll knock you down.
Dan, do something about these damn flies.
Fetch me another rum.
Get the flies first.
The rum.
I've only got 2 hands.
Gentlemen, please do go on. You're making the only breeze in Philadelphia.
Mr. Adams, perhaps you could clear something up for me. After we have achieved this independence, who do you propose would govern South Carolina?
The people, of course.
Which people, sir? The people of South Carolina, the people of Massachusetts?
Why don't you admit it, Eddie? You're not for independence now, and you never will be.
Gentlemen, you refuse to understand me. We're for independence, yes, for South Carolina, and that is our country. And as such, we do not wish to belong to anyone else. Not to England, not to you.
We intend to be one nation, Rutland.
A nation of sovereign states united for our mutual protection, but separate for our individual pursuits. Now that's what we've understood it to be. And it is for that we will vote. When everyone supports it.
There you are, Mr. Adams. You must see that we need time to make certain who we are and where we stand in regards to one another. For if we do not determine the nature of the beast before we set it free, it will end by consuming us all.
For once in your life, Wilson, take a chance. I say the time is now. It may never come again.
Your clock is fast, Mr. Adams. I say we're not yet ripe for independence.
Not right. Hell, man, we're rotting from want of a chair.
Gentlemen, please. What in God's name is the infernal hurry? Why must this question be settled now?
What's wrong with now, Mr. Chase?
General Washington is in the field. If he is defeated, as it now appears, we will be inviting the hangman. But if by some miracle he should defeat the redcoats. Then we can declare anything we dare please.
The sentiments of North Carolina precisely.
Has it occurred to either of you that an army needs something to fight for in order to win? A cause, a purpose, a flag of its own?
Mr. Adams, how does a nation of only 2 million souls stand up to an empire of 10 million? Think of it, 10 million. How do we compensate for that shortage?
Very simple, Mr. Chase. Increase and multiply.
How's that?
We will more than compensate with spirit. I tell you, there's a spirit out there with the people that's sadly lacking in this Congress.
Yes, of course. Now it's spirit. Why didn't I think of that? No army, no navy, no arms, no ammunition, no friends, no treasury. But bless our soul, spirit. Oh. Mr. Lee, Mr. Hopkins, Colonel McKeon, Dr. Franklin, why have you joined this incendiary little man? This Boston radical, this agitator, this demagogue, this madman.
Are you calling me a madman? You fribble?
Easy, John.
You and your Pennsylvania proprietors, you cool, considerate men. Oh, you keep to the rear on every issue so that if we should go under, you'll still remain afloat.
Are you calling me a coward?
Yes, coward!
Madman!
John! This is Congress! The enemy is out there!
Well, Mr. Radley, the enemy is in here!
No, the enemy is out there! England, closing in! Cutting off our air! There's no time! No air! Thomas!
Caesar!
Dr. Hall.
Colonel McKeon,
It's the consul.
you must be taken home.
Yes, a man should die in his own bed. John,
I'm here, Caesar.
I leave your divided Delaware. Forgive me.
I'll take you home, Caesar. I'll be back within the week.
Mr. President, South Carolina calls the question. What's that, Mr. Rutledge? South Carolina wishes to end debate and calls the question for independence. Please. The question has been called and seconded. Mr. Secretary?
Do something! Think!
I am thinking, John. Nothing's coming.
All those in favor of the resolution on independence as proposed by the colony of Virginia signify by
Mr.
saying...
Secretary, would you please read that once again, please? I seem to have forgotten.
Resolved that these colonies are and have a right to hope to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the Britain. I'm the Reverend John Witherspoon, the new delegate from New Jersey.
Dr. Taylor, I regret it must be the bearer of unhappy tidings. Your son, the royal governor of New Jersey, has been taken prisoner and moved to the colony of Connecticut for his safekeeping.
Is he unharmed, sir?
Well, last I heard, yes, sir, he was.
Then why the long face? I hear Connecticut's an excellent location. Tell me, sir, why they arrest the little bastard?
Our New Jersey legislature has decided to recall the delegation to this Congress and send a new one.
Quickly, men, where do you stand on independence?
Oh, haven't I made myself clear?
No!
Well, I guess I haven't. That's the reason for the change. I've been instructed to vote for independence.
Mr. President, Massachusetts is now ready for the vote on independence and reminds the chair of his privilege to cite all votes that are deadlocked.
I won't forget, Mr. Adams. The chair would like to welcome the Reverend Witherspoon and appoint him congressional chaplain if he will accept the post.
With much pleasure, sir.
Very well, Mr. Thompson, you may now proceed with the vote on independence. All those in favor of the resolution on independence as proposed by the colony of Virginia signify by saying...
Mr. President, Pennsylvania moves that any vote in favor of independence must be unanimous.
What?
George Wilson.
Delaware, second.
No
No votes ever had to be unanimous, Dickinson, and you know it.
Yes, but this one must be.
On what grounds?
On the grounds that no colony be torn from its mother country without its own consent.
Well, it'll never be unanimous, damn it.
If you say so, Mr. Adams.
It has been moved and seconded that the vote on independence must be unanimous in order to carry. All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Yea.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colonies say yea. All those against say nay.
Nay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colonies say nay.
Mr. Secretary, New York abstained piteously.
Mr. Morris, why does New York constantly abstain? Why doesn't New York simply stay in New York? Very well, the vote is tied. The principles of independence have no greater advocate in Congress than its president. And that is the reason I must join those who vote for unanimity.
What are you doing, John? You've sucked us.
Hear me out. Don't you see that any colony that opposes independence will be forced to fight on the side of England? That will be setting brother against brother. That our new nation will carry as its emblem the mark of king. I can see no other way. Either we must walk together, or together we must stay where we are. Very well, Mr. Thompson.
A unanimous vote being necessary to carry, if any be opposed to the resolution on independence as proposed by the colony of Virginia, signify by
Mr.
saying...
President!
For heaven's sake, let me get through at once.
Mr. President, I move for a postponement.
Postponement? Oh, I wish you the same luck I had with it.
Mr. Adams is right. We need a postponement.
On what grounds?
On what grounds?
Mr. President, how can this Congress vote on independence without a written declaration of some sort defining it?
What sort of declaration?
Yes, well, you know, listing for the reasons for the separation, our goals and aims, so on and so forth, etc., etc. Ditto.
We know those, don't we?
Oh, yes, of course. Good God, we know them. But what about the rest of the world? Certainly we would require the aid of a powerful nation such as France or Spain, and such a declaration would be consistent with European delegacy.
Come now, Mr. Adams. You'll have to do better than that. Answer straight. What would be its purpose?
Yes. Well,
To place before mankind the common sense of the subject, in terms so plain and firm as to command their assent.
Mr. Jefferson, are you seriously suggesting that we publish a paper declaring to all the world that an illegal rebellion is in reality a legal one?
Why, Mr. Dickinson, I am surprised at you. You should know that rebellion in the first person, such as our rebellion, is always legal. It is only in the third person, their rebellion, that it is illegal. Mr. President, I second the motion for postponement for the vote on independence for a period of time sufficient for the writing of a declaration.
The question has been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary?
All in favor of the motion to postpone, signify by saying yea.
Yea.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colonies say yea. All those against signify by saying nay.
Nay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colonies say nay.
Mr. Secretary, New York abstained piteously.
Mr. Morris. What the hell goes on in New York?
The simple fact is the New York legislature has never given us explicit instructions on anything.
Never? Impossible.
Mr. President, have you ever attended a session of the New York legislature? They talk very loud, very fast. Nobody listens to anybody else, therefore, very little gets done. I beg the Congress is pardoned.
My sympathies, Mr. Morris. The vote again being tied, the chair decides in favor of postponement. A committee will now be formed to manage the declaration. Said document to be written, debated, and approved by the beginning of July, 3 weeks hence. at which time Virginia's resolution on independence will finally be voted. Is that clear? Very well. Will the following gentlemen serve on the declaration committee? Dr. Franklin?
Gladly.
Mr. John Adams?
Of course.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Livingston?
Yes, sir.
And of course, Mr. Lee.
Excuse me, Mr. President, but I must be returning to the sovereign colony of Virginia as I have been asked to serve as governor. Therefore, I must decline. Respectful, Lee.
Very well, Mr. Lee, you're excused. I guess we can leave a four-man committee.
Just a moment, Mr. President. This business needs a Virginian, therefore I propose a replacement, Mr. Thomas Jefferson.
No, Very well, Mr. Adams. Mr. Jefferson will serve.
I'm going home too to my wife.
Move to adjourn.
No, wait.
Moved and seconded. Any objections?
I have objections. What?
So moved. Congress stands adjourned.
All right, gentlemen, let's get on to it. Which of us will write our Declaration of Independence?
Mr. Adams, I say you should write it. To your legal mind and brilliance would it burn.
Is that so? Well, if I'm the one to do it, they'll run their quill pens through it. I'm obnoxious and dislike, you know that, sir.
Oh, yes, I know.
But then I say you should write it, Franklin. Yes, you.
Hell no.
Yes, you, Dr. Franklin. You.
Mr. Adams, oh, Mr. Adams, the things I write are only like extemporanea. I won't put politics on paper, it's a mania. So I refuse to use the pen in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, refuse to use the pen.
Mr. Sherman, I say you should write it. You are never controversial, as it were.
That is true.
Whereas if I'm the one to do it, they'll run their quill pens through it. I'm obnoxious and dislike, you know that, sir.
Yes, I do.
So I say you should write it, Roger. Yes, you.
Heavens, no.
Yes, you, Roger Sherman. You are,
Mr. Adams, but Mr. Adams, I cannot write with any style or proper etiquette. I don't know a preposition from a predicate. I am just a simple cobbler from Connecticut.
Mr. Livingston, maybe you should write it. You have many friends and you're a diplomat.
Oh, that word!
Whereas if I'm the one to do it, they'll run their quill pens through it.
He's obnoxious and dislike, did you know that? I hadn't heard.
So I say you should write it, Robert. Yes, you.
Not me, Johnny.
Yes, you, Robert Livingston.
Mr. Adams, but Mr. Adams, I've been presented with a new sun-violent mobile store, and I'm going home to celebrate a pop-part with all the Livingstons together back in New York. New York, New York, Livingston going to Concord. Mr. Adams, leave me alone.
La la la, la la, Mr. Jefferson.
Mr. Adams, I've knocked you on the I beg of you now.
And we solemnly being with one mind resolved to die free men to live slaves. Thomas Jefferson on the necessity of taking up arms, 1775. Magnificent. Why, you write 10 times better than any man in Congress, including me. For a man of only 33 years, you possess a happy talent for composition and a remarkable felicity of expression. Now then, sir, will you be a patriot or a lover?
A lover.
No!
But I burn, Mr. A.
So do I, Mr. J.
You?
You do?
John? Who'd have thought?
Mr. Jefferson, dear Mr. Jefferson, I'm only 41, I still have my virility, and I can run through Cupid's grove with great agility. But life is more than sexual combustibility. Now you write it, Mr. J.
Who will make me, Mr. A?
I.
You?
Yes.
How?
By physical force, if necessary. It's your duty, damn it, your duty!
Mr. Adams, damn you, Mr. Adams. You're obnoxious and this light that cannot be denied. Once again you stand between me and my lovely bride. Oh, Mr. Adams, you are driving me to homicide! Homicide!
The choice is yours, Mr. Jefferson. Do as you like with it.
We may see further. Damn the man! God damn the man!
Jefferson? Jefferson, are you finished, man? You've had a whole week. Is it done? Can I see it? There comes a time in the lives of men when it becomes necessary to advance from the subordination in which they have attempted to remain. This is terrible. What's the rest of it? Do you mean to say it is not finished?
No, sir. I mean to say it's not begun.
Oh, good God! A whole week! The entire Earth was created in a week!
Someday, you must tell me how you did it.
Disgusting. Look at him, Franklin, Virginia's most famous lover.
Virginia, abstain.
Cheer up, Jefferson. Get out of the dumps. It'll come out right, I promise you. Now get back to work. Franklin, tell him to get back to work.
He's asleep.
Wake up, Franklin!
You halloo! And who
so?
Because I sent for her.
You what?
Well, it simply occurred to me that the sooner his problem was solved, the sooner our problem would be solved.
Good thinking, John. Good thinking.
Madam, may I present myself? John Adams. Adams. John Adams. Oh, and Dr. Franklin. Inventor of the stove. Jefferson, would you kindly present me to your wife? She is your wife, isn't she?
Well, of course she is, John. Look at the way they fit.
Well, come along, John. Come along, John.
Come along where? There's work to be done.
Hey, obviously, John.
Good God, you mean they're going to?
In the middle of the afternoon? Not everyone's from Boston, John.
Incredible!
Well, good night, John.
Oh, Franklin, have you eaten?
No, not yet, but...
Yeah, well, I hear the turkey's fresh as a bunch of grapes.
Fact is, John, I have a rendezvous. I'd ask you along, but talking makes me nervous.
Oh, Abigail, I'm very lonely.
Are you, John? Then as long as you were sending for wives, why didn't you send for your own?
Don't be unreasonable, Abigail.
Now I'm unreasonable. You must add that to your list.
List?
The catalog of my foes you included in your last letter.
They were fondly intended, madam.
That I play at cards badly.
Compliment.
That my posture is crooked.
An endearment.
That I read, write, and think too much.
An irony.
That I am pigeon-toed.
Ah, well, there you have me, Abby. I'm afraid you are pigeon-toed. Come to Philadelphia. Please, come.
Oh, I do want to, John. But you know it's not possible now. The children have the measles.
Yes, so you wrote, Tom and little Abby.
Only now it's Quincy and Charles. And I'm afraid that the farm here in Braintree is failing, John. The chickens and geese have all died, and the apples never survive a late frost. How do you suppose she managed to get away?
Well, the winters are softer in Virginia, madam.
And their women, John?
Pale, puny things inside New England girls.
I thank you for that, John.
Abigail, how goes it with you?
Not well, John. Not at all well. I live like a nun in a cloister, solitary celibate. I hate it. And you, John?
out here? I thought you'd be in there cracking the whip.
Well,
The shutters are still closed.
My God, so they are. Well, as the French say.
Oh, please, Franklin, spare me your bloody mind first thing in the morning. There we go.
Congressman dares anything. John, go ahead.
Me?
Your voice is more piercing.
Maybe we'd better come back later.
What?
Well, it's positively indecent.
John, really? They're young and in love.
Not them, Franklin. Us, standing out here. Waiting for them to... I mean, what will people think?
John, don't worry. The history books will clean it up.
It doesn't matter. I won't compare the history books anyway. Only you. Franklin did this and Franklin did that. Franklin did some other damn thing. Franklin smote the ground and out sprang George Washington, fully grown and on his horse. Franklin then electrified them with his miraculous lightning rod, and the three of them, Franklin, Washington, and the horse, conducted the entire revolution all by themselves.
I like it. Chuck, look at her. Just look at her.
Oh, yeah?
She's even more magnificent than I remembered. Of course, we didn't see much of her front last evening. Good morrow, madame.
Good morrow.
Is it the habit in Philadelphia for strangers to shout at ladies from the street?
Indeed, it is not, madame.
And men of your age is not only unseemly, it's unsightly.
Excuse me, madam, but we met last evening.
I met no one last evening.
Indeed, you did not, madame. But nevertheless, we presented ourselves. This is Mr. John Adams, and I'm Dr. Franklin, the inventor of the stove.
Oh, please, I know your names very well. But you say you presented yourselves?
It is of no matter, madame. Your thoughts were well taken elsewhere.
My husband is not yet up.
Shall we start over? Would you please join us?
Yes, of course.
No wonder we couldn't write. Who could think of independence married to her?
I beg you to forgive me. It is indeed an honor meeting the two greatest men in America.
Certainly the two greatest within earshot, anyway.
I am not an idle flatterer, Dr. Franklin. My husband admires you both greatly.
Oh, then we are doubly flattered. We admire very much that which your husband admires.
Did you sleep well, madam? I mean, did you lie comfortably? You know what I mean.
Yes, we know what you mean, John. Please, madam, tell us about yourself. We've precious little information. What's your first name?
Martha.
Ah, Martha. You think you would have at least told us that? I'm afraid your husband does not say very much.
He's the most silent man in Congress. I've never heard him utter 3 sentences together.
Not everyone's a talker, John.
It's true, you know. Tom is not a talker. Though he never speaks his passions, he never speaks his views. Whereas other men speak volumes, the man I love is news. In truth, I can't recall being good with words at all. Even
Go on, madam.
Yes, how did he win you, Martha? And how does he hold on to a bounty such as you?
surely you've noticed that Tom is a man of many accomplishments. Author, lawyer, farmer, architect, statesman. And still one more that I hesitate to mention.
Don't hesitate, madam. Don't hesitate.
Yes, tell us, what else does that red-headed tombstone do?
He plays harmony. He tucks it right under his chin. And he blows, for he knows, yes he knows, that it's high, high, high in the lips. High, high, high in his lips. A string or a song.
Philadelphia plant, man.
Dear Mr. Adams, I am taking my wife back to bed. Kindly go away. Your obedient T. Jefferson. Incredible!
John, evidently I should have written a declaration after all. After all, at my age, there's no doubt the pen is mightier than the sword.
For it's high, 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 diddle, diddle, and God bless the man who can fiddle. And Independence Day. High, 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 ya-ta-ta-ta-ta. Through eternity.
And what follows is a complete and up-to-date list of the committees of this Congress now sitting, about to sit, or just having sat. A committee formed to investigate a complaint made against the quality of yeast manufactured at Mr. Henry Pendleton's mill, designated as the Yeast Committee. A committee formed to consider the most effective method of dealing with spies, designated as the Spies Committee. A committee formed to think, perhaps to do, but in any case to gather, to meet, to confer, to talk, and perhaps even to resolve that each rifle regiment be allowed at least one drum and one pipe attached to each company, designated as the Drum and Fife Committee. A committee...
Look at it, Doctor. Democracy. What Plato called the charming form of government. Full of variety and disorder. I never knew Plato had been to Philadelphia.
McKay, open the damn window.
Ben, I want you to take a look at some of these cards that I've gone and had printed up. It ought to save everyone a lot of time and effort, considering the epidemic of bad disposition we've had going on around here lately. It says, "You, sir, you are without any doubt a rogue, a rascal, a villain, a thief, a scoundrel, and a mean, dirty, stinking, sniveling, sneaky, pimping, pocket-picking, thrice double-damned, no good son of a bitch," and then you sign your name.
Stephen, I'll take a dozen right now.
Committee formed to answer all congressional correspondences, designated as the Congressional Correspondence Committee.
All right, Franklin, enough socializing. There's work to be done.
Good morning, John.
What? Good morning, good morning. Now, let's get to it.
Get to what?
Anonymity, of course. Look at that board. 6 names to win over in a little more than a week.
A committee formed to consider the problem of counterfeit money, designated as the Counterfeit Money Committee.
All right, John. Where do we stop?
How about Delaware? It's a sad thing to find on the wrong side of it after all this time. Is there any news of Rodney?
McKeon's back.
Thomas!
A committee formed to study the cause of our military defeat in Canada, designated the Military Defeat in Canada Committee.
How did you leave Caesar? Is he still alive?
Aye, but the journey to Dover was fearful hard on him. He never complained, but you could see the poor man was suffering.
But you got him home safely.
I did, but I doubt he never set foot out of it again.
That leaves you and Reed split down the middle. Will he come over?
I don't know. He's a stubborn little snot.
Then work on it. Keep at it till you wear him down.
John, what good would it do? Look for yourself, man. Maryland, Pennsylvania, the entire South, it's impossible.
It's impossible if we all stand around complaining about it. To work, McKeon. One foot in front of the other.
John, I think I put it in a better way. Never put off till tomorrow what you can do.
Franklin!
Yes, John.
Shut up!
Yes, John.
But what good would it do? You know Dickinson? He'll never get in. And you haven't heard the last of Rutledge yet either.
Never mind about them. Your job is George Reed. Talk him deaf if you have to, but bring us back Delaware.
There's a simpler way. This'll break the tie.
All right, John, who's next?
A committee formed to keep secrets, designated as the Secrets Committee.
Pennsylvania and Maryland. I suggest you try to put your own house in order while I take a crack at old bacon face. Look at him stump himself. Ah, Mr. Chase. How about it, Chase? When are you coming to your senses?
Please, Mr. Adams, not while I'm eating.
Ah, Mr. Wilson. It's time you assert yourself, sir. Tell me, when you were a judge, how the hell did you ever make a decision?
The decisions that I made were all based on legality and precedence. There's no legality here, and certainly no precedence.
Because it's a new idea, you clot! Of setting our own precedent!
No, Mr. McKeon, no.
Damn your eyes, Reed. You came into the world screaming no, and you're determined to leave the same way.
The Congress is waiting on you, Chase. America's waiting. The whole world is waiting. What's that, kidney? Leave me alone, Mr. Adams. You're wasting your time. I thought for once you could win this war and get the front of your ranks. But surely you must know it's impossible. You heard General Washington's dispatches. His army has fallen apart. Washington's exaggerating the situation in order to arouse this torpid Congress into action. Why, as chairman of the War Committee, I can tell you for a fact that the army has never been in better shape. Never have troops been so cheerful. Never have soldiers been more resolute. Never have training and duties. Oh, good God!
For your ears, gentlemen, Mr. Thompson has a dispatch. From the Commander, Army of the United Colonies in New York, dispatch number 1157, to the Honorable Congress, John Hancock, President. It is with the utmost despair that I must report to you the confusion and disorder that reign in every department. The Continental soldier is as nothing ever seen in this or any other century. He is a misfit, ignorant of hygiene, destructive, disorderly, and totally disrespectful of rank. Only this last is understandable as there is an incredible reek of stupidity amongst the officers. The situation is most desperate in the New Jersey training ground in New Brunswick, where every able-bodied poor in the colonies has assembled. There are constant reports of drunkenness, desertion, foul language, naked bathing in the Raritan River, and an epidemic of the French disease. I have declared the town off limits to all military personnel, with the exception of officers. I beseech the Congress to dispatch the War Committee to this place in the hope of restoring some of the order and discipline we need to survive. Your obedient, G. Washington.
Ah, the man would depress a hyena.
Well, Mr. Adams, you're chairman of the War Committee. You feel up the whoring, drinking, deserting and New Brunswick?
There must be some mistake. I have an aunt who lives in New Brunswick.
You must tell her to keep up the good work. Come, Mr. Adams. You must see that it's hopeless. Let us recall General Washington and the Continental Army before we are overwhelmed.
Oh, yes, the English would like that, wouldn't they?
Why not ask them yourself? They ought to be here any minute.
And when they hang you, Miss Adams, I hope you will put in a good word for the rest of us.
Face
facts, Mr. Adams. A handful of drunken, disorderly recruits against the entire British Army, the finest musket men on the face of the earth. How can we win? How can we hope to survive? Answer me straight, Chase. If you thought we could beat the Redcoats, would Maryland say yay to independence? Well, I suppose, no supposing. Would you or wouldn't you? All right, very well. Yes, we would. Then come with me to New Brunswick and see for yourself.
Yana, you mud. Heard what Washington said. It's a shambles up there. They're pushing you into it, Johnny.
What do you say, Chase?
Go ahead, see. Sounds lively in hell up there.
All right, why not? And perhaps this time it will be John Adams who comes to his senses. Mr. President, the Law Committee will heed General Washington's request. A party consisting of Mr. Chase, Dr. Franklin, and myself will leave immediately.
Is that all right with you, Dr. Franklin?
Wake up, Franklin! You're going to New Brunswick!
Why, hell I am. What for? With a horn and a drinking?
Come on, Chase, move all that lard. We've no time to lose. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left.
Mr. McNair, all this talk of independence has left a certain foulness in the air. My friends and I would appreciate it if you could open some windows.
What about the flies?
The windows, Mr. McNair.
Open the windows. Close the windows. Sweet Jesus.
Oh, say, do you see what I see? Congress here in sweet serenity. My good cheer, the reason's clear. For the first time in a year, Adams isn't here. And look, the sun is in the sky, a breeze is blowing by, and there's not a single fly. I sing Hosanna, 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 and it's cool. Come ye cool, cool, conservative men, our lightning will never be seen again. We have land, cash in hand, self-command, future plan, fortune thrives, society survives, in neatly ordered lives, with well-endowed wives. Sing Hosanna, Hosanna, in our breeding and our manner, we are cool. Come ye cool, cool, consider it set. We'll dance together to the same minuet. To the right, ever to the right, never to the left, forever to the right. Never be never to exceed, regulated speed, no matter what the need. Come sing Hosanna, Hosanna, and blaze another banner is before. To the right, never to the right, never to the left, forever to the right. Hands attached, tightly latched, everybody match.
I have a new dispatch. From the Commander, Army of the United Colonies in New York, dispatch number 1158, to the Honorable Congress, John Hancock, President. Dear Sir, I awoke this morning to find that General Howe has landed 25,000 British regulars and Hessian mercenaries on Staten Island, and that the fleet, under the command of his brother, Admiral Lord Howe, controls not only the Hudson and East Rivers, but New York Harbor, which now looks like all of London afloat. I can no longer in good conscience withhold from the Congress my certainty that the British military objective at this time is Philadelphia. Happy should I be if I could see the means of preventing them, but at present I confess I do not. Oh, how I wish I had never seen the Continental Army. I would have done better to retire to the back country and to live in a wigwam. Your obedient, G. Washington.
What we do rationally. We never ever go off half-cocked, not we. Why begin to the gun we win? As if we cannot win, why bother to begin?
You don't even like him.
That is true. He annoys me quite a lot, but still I'd rather trot to Mr. Adams who come on.
But why, sir, the personal glory or a place in history? Be careful, sir. History will brand Mr. Adams and his followers as traitors.
Traitors to what, Mr. Dickinson? The British crown or the British half-crown? Fortunately, there are not enough men of property in America to dictate policy.
Perhaps not. But don't forget that most men with nothing would rather protect the possibility of becoming rich than face the reality of being poor. And that is why they will follow us. To the right, and to the right, and to the left, or and to the right, where there's I sing Hosanna, Hosanna, in a sing and a lucid manner. We are cool with a cool, that's sitting who's like the bees sing again. We have learned as it has, self-command, future time, and you hold your we say this game's not about choosing. Why should we risk losing? We Sweet Jesus. Can you imagine trying to borrow $1 from one of them? Want another rum, General?
General? Boy, I ain't even a corporal.
Yeah, well, what's the Army know? Sit down, gentlemen. Chair rules is too damn popular. So, what's it like out there, General?
You probably know more than me.
Sitting in here? Sweet Jesus, this is the last place to find out what's going on.
I'm aiming to join up.
What are you talking about? You don't have to join up, you're in the Congress.
What's that got to do with it?
You don't see them rushing out to get killed now, do ya? Sure are great ones for setting others, though, I can tell you that.
Who sits here?
Caesar Rodney in Delaware. Where are you from, General?
Watertown.
Where's that?
Massachusetts.
Well, then you belong down there. Be careful. Something about that chair makes a man awful noisy.
You seen any fighting?
Sure did. I see my two best friends get shot dead the very same day. Right on the village green it was, too. And when they didn't come home for supper, their moms went down the hill looking for them. Well, Miss Lowell, she found Timothy. Right off. And Miss Pickett, she looked at half the night for Willem. Because he'd gone and crawled off the green before he died. Mama, hey Mama, I'm looking for me. I'm here in the meadow by the red maple tree. Mama, hey Mama, look
Secretary will now read the report of the Declaration Committee. Mr. Thompson.
A declaration by the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights.
We're back, and we've got Maryland. That is, we will, as soon as Chase gets through telling the Maryland Assembly what we saw in New Brunswick.
Yes, he's in Annapolis right now describing a ragtag collection of provincial militiamen who couldn't train together, drill together, or march together. But when a group of ducks flew by, and they saw their first meal in 3 full days, sweet Jesus, could they shoot together? It was a slaughter.
They're reading the Declaration.
Oh, good God, how far have they got?
To render the military independent of and superior to the civil power.
Independent of and superior to the civil power.
Well, there's nothing to fear. It's a masterpiece. I'm to be congratulated.
You?
For making him write it.
Oh, yes, of course.
It's a masterpiece, I say. They will cheer every word, every letter.
I wish I felt that way.
I believe I can put it better. Now then attend as friend to friend, this declaration comes
and a sage, a bit gouty in the leg. You'll know it's quite bizarre to think that here we are, playing midwives for an egg.
Egg? What egg?
America, the birth of a new nation.
If only we could be sure what kind of a bird it's going to be.
Yes, Tom here has a point. What sort of bird shall we choose as a symbol of our new America?
The eagle.
The dove. The turkey.
The eagle.
The dove.
The eagle.
The eagle. The turkey.
The eagle is a majestic bird.
The eagle is a scavenger, a thief, and a coward, and the symbol of more than 10 centuries of European mischief.
And the turkey,
a truly noble bird, native of America, a source of sustenance to our settlers, an incredibly brave fellow who would not flinch at attacking an entire regiment of single-handedly. Therefore, the national bird of America is going to be
the eagle.
The eagle.
We're waiting for the chirp, chirp, chirp of an eaglet being born. Waiting for the chirp, chirp, chirp on this humid Monday morning in this congressional incubator. God knows our temperature's hot enough not to store, let alone an egg.
We're waiting for the scratch, scratch, scratch
of that tiny little fellow, waiting for the egg to hatch on this humid Monday morning in this congressional incubator.
God knows the temperature's hot enough to hatch a stone,
but will it hatch an egg?
The Declaration will be a triumph, I tell you, a triumph. If I was ever sure of anything, I'm sure of that. A triumph. And if it isn't, we've still got 4 days left to think of something else. The eagle's going to crack the shell of the egg that England laid.
And so we can tell on this humid Monday morning in this congressional incubator. And just as Tom here is lieutenant, though the shell still belongs to Great Britain, the eagle inside belongs to us. And just as Tom here is lieutenant, we say to hell with Great Britain, the eagle inside belongs to us.
Independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Congress has heard the report of the Declaration Committee. Are there any of those who wish to offer any amendments, deletions, or alterations to the Declaration?
Colonel McKee, if I saw your hand first.
Tom, it's a bonny paper you've written, but somewhere in it you mention Scottish and foreign mercenaries sent to destroy us. Scottish, Tom?
It's in reference to a Highland regiment which stood against us at Boston.
Ah, it would more likely Germans wearing kilts to disguise their being there. I ask you to remove the word and avoid giving offense to a good people.
Mr. Jefferson. The Reverend Witherspoon.
Mr. Jefferson, nowhere do you mention the Supreme Being. Certainly this must be an oversight, for how can we expect to achieve victory without his help? Therefore, I must humbly suggest this following addition to your final sentence. With a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence.
Mr. Jefferson. Mr. Reed.
Among your charges against the king, Mr. Jefferson, you accuse him of denying us the benefits of trial by jury. This is untrue, sir. Delaware has always had trial by jury.
In Massachusetts, we have not.
Oh, then perhaps the words "in many cases" should be added.
Mr. Jefferson.
Oh, brilliant! I suppose every time you see those three words, your puny little chest will swell up with pride over your great historical contribution.
It's more memorable than your unprincipled whitewash of that race of barbarians. Mr. Reed, tell McKee, and that's enough. Mr. Hopkins.
No objections, Johnny. I'm just trying to get another drink.
You can't get him wrong. Mr. Bartlett.
Mr. Jefferson, I beg you remember that we still have very close friends in England. I see no purpose in antagonizing them by using such phrases as unfeeling brethren and enemies in war. Our quarrel is with the British king, not with the British people.
Oh, be sensible, Bartlett. Remove those phrases and the entire paragraph becomes meaningless. And it so happens it's among the most stirring and poetic of any passage in the entire document.
Mr. Adams, not the literary society. I ask the entire paragraph be stricken.
Mr. Jefferson.
Oh, good God, Jefferson, don't you ever intend to speak up for your own work?
I had hoped that the work would speak up for itself.
Mr. Hancock?
What is it, Mr. McNair?
I can't say I'm very fond of the United States of America as a name for a new country.
Here, what you fond of, Mr. McNair? You're not a member of this Congress. Mr. Sherman.
Brother Jefferson, I note at least two distinct and direct references to the British Parliament in your declaration. Do you think it's wise to alienate that august body in light of our contention that they have never had direct authority over us anyway?
This is a revolution, damn it! We're going to have to offend somebody!
John, you're going to give yourself a case of apoplexy if you're not careful.
Have you heard what they're doing to it? Have you heard?
Yes, I've heard, John.
And so far, it's only been our friends. Imagine what our enemies will do.
The word Parliament will be removed wherever it occurs.
They won't be satisfied till they remove one of the F's from Jefferson's name.
Courage, Johnny, won't last much longer.
Mr. Dickinson.
Mr. Jefferson, I have very little interest in your paper, as there is no doubt in my mind we have all but heard the last of it. But I am curious about one thing. Why do you refer to King George as a tyrant?
Because he is a tyrant.
I remind you, Mr. Jefferson, that this tyrant is still your king.
When a king becomes a tyrant, he thereby breaks the contract, binding his subjects to him.
How so?
By taking away their rights.
Rights that came from him in the first place.
All but one. The right to be free comes from nature.
Mr. Wilson, do we in Pennsylvania consider King George a tyrant?
Well, I don't know. No, we don't. He's not a tyrant. Not in Pennsylvania.
There you are, Mr. Jefferson. Your declaration does not speak for us all. I demand the word tyrant be removed.
Just a moment, Mr. Thompson. I do not consent. The king is a tyrant, whether we say so or not. We might as well say so.
But I already scratched it out.
Then scratch it back in.
Put it back, Mr. Thompson. The king will remain the tyrant. Mr. Hughes.
Mr. Jefferson, nowhere do you mention deep-sea fishing.
Fishing rights! How long is this piddling to go on? We have been sitting here for 3 full days. We have endured, by my count, 85 separate changes and the removal of close to 400 words. Would you whip it and beat it till you break its spirit? I tell you that document's a masterful expression of the American mind.
Now, if there are no more changes, then I can assume that the report...
Look out. I wonder if I could prevail upon Mr. Thompson to read a small portion of Mr. Jefferson's declaration. The part beginning with, he has waged cruel war.
Mr. Thompson.
He is affected, he has combined, he is advocated, he has plundered, he has constrained, he has excited, he has incited, he has waged cruel war. Aha, here it is. He has waged cruel war against human nature itself in the persons of a distant people who never offended him, captivating and carrying them into slavery in another hemisphere. Determined to keep open a market where men should be bought and sold. He has prostituted...
That will suffice, Mr. Thompson. I thank you. Mr. Jefferson, I can't quite make out what it is talking about.
Slavery, Mr. Rutledge.
You're referring to us as slaves of the king?
No, sir. I'm referring to our slaves. Black slaves.
Black slave! Why you say so, sir? Trying to hide the meaning?
No, sir.
Just another literary line.
If you like.
I don't like that. Oh, Mr. Jefferson. To us in South Carolina, black slavery is our peculiar institution and a cherished way of life.
Nevertheless, we must abolish it. Nothing is more certainly written in the Book of Faith than that these people shall...
I am not concerned with the Book of Faith right now, sir. I am more concerned with what's written in that little paper there of yours.
That little paper there deals with freedom for Americans.
Mr. Adams is now referring to our black slaves as Americans. Are they not?
Yes, they are. They're people and they're here. If there's any other requirement I've never heard of.
Yeah, they are people, sir. They are not people, sir. They are property.
No, sir. They are people but we ain't treated as property. I'll tell you the rights of human nature are deeply wounded by this infamous practice.
Then see to your own wounds, Mr. Jefferson, for you are a practitioner, are you not?
I have already resolved to release my slaves.
And I'm sorry for you, sir. But you have also resolved the ruination of your personal economy.
Economy. Always economy. There's more to this than a filthy purse string, Rutledge. It's an offense against man and God.
Well, is it really? Then what is there I smell floating down from the north? Could it be the aroma of hypocrisy? For who holds the other end of that filthy purse string, Mr. Adams? I know the brethren are feeling a bit tender toward our slaves. They don't keep slaves, oh no! But they're willing to be considerable carriers of slaves. To others, they are willing for the shilling. Or haven't you heard, Mr. Adams? Click, click! Dance with us, we dance with you. Boston, laden with gold's deep gleam, whose fortunes are made and the triangle trade, hail slavery, the New England dream. Mr. Adams, I give you a toast. Hail Charleston! Hail Boston! Her statement in
Don't worry, they'll be back. It holds us down.
It's done! Adams, Franklin, I have it! And the Maryland Assembly's approved it. I told them about one of the greatest military engagements in history against the flock of... What's wrong? I thought...
You'll have to forgive them, Mr. Chase. They've just suffered a slight setback. After all, what is a man profited if he shall gain Maryland and lose the entire South? Matthew, chapter 16, verse 26.
Mr. McNair!
Oh, I know, the spies.
No, I'm wrong.
Well, what are we sitting around for? We're wasting time, precious time. Thomas, I want you to ride down into Delaware and fetch back Caesar Rodney.
Young Maud, it's 80 miles on horseback and he's a dying man.
No, he's a patriot.
John, what good would it do? The South has done us in.
And suppose they change their mind. Can we get Delaware without Rodney?
God, what a bastardly bunch we are.
Stephen.
No, Johnny. No, I'm going down to the tavern. If there's anything I can do for you down there, let me know.
Chase, Bartlett.
What's the use, John? Tomorrow morning's the voting.
There's less than a full day left.
Roger.
Face facts, John. It's finished.
I'm sorry, John.
We've no other choice, John. The slavery clause has to go.
Franklin, what are you saying?
It's a luxury we can't afford, John.
A luxury? 500,000 souls and change. And Dr. Franklin calls it a luxury. Maybe you should have walked out with the South.
Forget yourself, sir. I started the first anti-slavery society on this continent.
Oh, don't wave your credentials at me. Perhaps it's time you had them renewed. The issue here is independence.
Maybe you gotten that facsimile, I have not. How dare you jeopardize our cause? We've come so far. Those men, no matter how much we disagree with them, are not ribbon clerks to be ordered about. They're proud, accomplished men. The cream of their colonies. And whether you like it or not, they and the people they represent are going to be part of this new country you hope to create. So either start learning how to live with them, John, pack up your bags and leave. In any case, stop acting like a Boston fishwife.
Good God. What's happened to me? John Adams, the great John Adams, the wise man of the East. What have I come to?
John?
That I'm pig-headed.
Oh, well, I'm afraid there you have me, John. You are pig-headed.
Has it been any kind of life for you, Abby? God knows I haven't given you much.
I never asked for more. After all, I am Mrs. John Adams. That's quite a lot for one lifetime.
Is it, Abby?
Why, think of it, John. To be married to the man who was always first in line to be hanged.
Yes, the agitator. Why, Abby? Just tell me what it is. I've always been dissatisfied, I know that, but lately I reek of discontentment. It fills my throat and floods my brain, and sometimes I fear there is no longer a dream, but only discontentment.
Oh, John, can you know so little about yourself? And can you think so little of me that I would marry the man you described? Have you forgotten what you used to say to me? I haven't. Commitment, Abby, commitment. There are only two people of value on the face of this earth. Those with a commitment and those who require the commitment of others. Do you remember, John?
Yes, I remember.
Mr. Adams! Mr. Adams!
What?
These are for you.
Just a minute. What are they? What's in them? Who sent them? What sort of pin? I don't know, whatever ladies use with their sewing. And take these cakes to the armory. Hurry, man, hurry! Franklin, Jefferson, what are we sitting around for?
John, didn't you hear a word I said before?
Never mind that. Here's what you've got to do.
I'm not even speaking to you, John.
It's too late for that, damn it. We're wasting time, precious time. Jefferson, I want you to talk to Rutledge. You're both Southern aristocrats. Gentlemen, if you'll listen to anybody, he'll listen to you. Franklin, get out of that chair.
John, do I have to talk to Wilson?
Yes, you do. If it takes all night, keep talking. Get him away from Dickinson, that's the only way to do it.
Yes, John.
I'm still from Massachusetts, John. You know where I stand. I'll do whatever you say.
No. You're the president of the Congress. You're a fair man, Hancock. Stay that way. Tell me, Mr. Thompson, out of curiosity, do you stand with Mr. Dickinson, or do you stand with me?
I stand with the general. Lately, I've had the oddest feeling he's been writing to me.
I have been in expectation of receiving a reply on the subject of my last 15 dispatches. Is anybody there? Does anybody care? silent the chamber is. Is anybody there? Does anybody care? Does anybody see what I see?
Yes, Mr. Adams. I do.
Oh, Dr. Hall, I didn't know anyone was there.
I'm sorry if I startled you. I couldn't sleep. In trying to resolve my dilemma, I remembered something I'd once read. That a representative owes the people not only his industry, but his judgment. And he betrays them if he sacrifices it to their opinion. That was written by Edmund Burke, a member of the British Parliament.
Virginia's resolution on independence. Thank you for coming, Caesar, and God bless you, sir. Call the roll, Mr. Thompson, and I'd remind you, gentlemen, that a single nay vote will defeat the motion. Mr. Thompson? New Hampshire. New Hampshire says yay. New Hampshire says yay. Massachusetts.
Massachusetts says yay.
Massachusetts says yay. Rhode Island.
Rhode Island says yay.
Rhode Island says yay. Connecticut.
Connecticut says yay.
Connecticut says yay. New York.
New York abstains courteously.
New York abstains
courteously.
New Jersey.
New Jersey says yay.
New Jersey says yay. Pennsylvania.
Mr. Secretary, Pennsylvania's not quite ready. Would you come back to us later, please?
Pennsylvania passes. Delaware.
Delaware, by majority vote, says yay.
Delaware says yay.
Well done, sir.
Maryland.
Maryland says yay.
Maryland says yay. Virginia.
Virginia says yay.
Virginia says yay. North Carolina.
North Carolina yields to South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Well, Miss Adams?
Well, Mr. Rutledge.
Mr. Adams, you must understand that I will do what I have promised to do.
What do you want, Frederick?
Remove the offending clause from Mr. Jefferson's declaration.
If we did that, we would be guilty of what we ourselves are rebelling against.
Nevertheless, remove it. For South Carolina will bury forever your dream of independence.
John, I beg you to consider what you're doing.
Mark me, friend. If we give in on this issue, posterity will never forgive us.
That's probably true, but we won't hear a thing, John. We'll be long gone. Besides, what will posterity think we were? Demigods? Men. No more, no less. Trying to get a nation started against greater odds than a more generous God would have allowed. John, first things first. America. Independence. For if we don't secure that, John, what good will the rest make?
Jefferson, say something.
What else is there to do?
Well, man, you're the one who wrote it.
I wrote all of it, Mr. Adams.
Your slavery, little good man, do you now vote, damn you!
The fair colony of South Carolina says yay.
South Carolina says yay.
North Carolina says yay.
North Carolina says yay. Georgia.
Georgia says yay.
Georgia says yay. Pennsylvania, second call.
Mr. President, Pennsylvania regrets all the inconvenience that such distinguished men as Franklin, Jefferson, and Adams were put to just now. They might have kept that document intact for all the good it would do. Mr. President, Pennsylvania said...
Just a moment. I ask that the delegation be polled.
Dr. Franklin, don't be upset.
Oh, Mr. President, it's a proper request.
Yes, it is. Poll the delegation, Mr. Thompson. Dr. Benjamin Franklin.
Yea.
Mr. John Dickinson.
Nay.
Mr. James Wilson. Judge Wilson.
Well, there you have it, Mr. Wilson. It's all up to you now. The whole question of American independence lies squarely on your shoulders. An entirely new nation waiting to be born or die in birth, all on your say-so. Which shall it be, Mr. Wilson? Every map maker in the world is waiting for your decision.
Come now, James. Nothing has changed. We mustn't let Dr. Franklin create one of his confusions. The question is clear.
Most questions are clear when they're decided by someone else.
Would be a pity for a man who handed down hundreds of wise decisions from the bench to be remembered only for one unwise decision he made in Congress.
James, you're keeping everyone waiting. The secretary has called for your vote.
John, please, don't push me. I know what you want me to do. But Mr. Adams is right about one thing. I'm the man to be remembered for it.
What do you mean?
I'm not like you, John. I'm not like most of the men in this Congress. I don't want to be remembered. I just don't want the responsibilities.
Yes, well, whether you like it or not, James, there is no way of avoiding it.
Not necessarily. If I vote with them, I'll be one among dozens. If I vote with you, I'll be remembered as the man who prevented American independency. I just didn't bargain for that.
And is that how new nations are formed? By a non-entity trying to preserve the anonymity he so richly deserves. Revolutions come into this world like bastard children, Mr. Dickinson. Half improvised, half compromised. Our side is merely providing the compromise. And Judge Wilson is supplying the rest.
James.
I'm sorry, John. My vote is yay.
Pennsylvania says yay. The vote being 12 to 0 with one abstention, the resolution on independence is adopted.
It's done.
Mr. Thompson, is the declaration ready to be signed?
It is.
And I suggest we do so. And the chair further proposes for our mutual security and protection that no man be allowed to sit in this Congress without attaching his name to it.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. I cannot in good conscience sign such a document. I will never stop hoping for the eventual reconciliation with England. But because in my own way, I regard America no less than does Mr. Adams, I will join the army and fight in her defense, even though I believe that fight to be hopeless. Goodbye, gentlemen.
Gentlemen of the Congress, I say ye John Dickinson.
Gentlemen, is there any objections to the declaration as it now stands?
Yes, Mr. Hancock, I have one.
You, Mr. Adams?
Yes. Mr. Jefferson, it so happens the word is unalienable, not inalienable.
I'm sorry, Mr. Adams. Inalienable is correct.
I happen to be a Harvard graduate, Mr. Jefferson.
William and Mary, Mr. Adams.
Gentlemen, please. Mr. Jefferson, will you yield to Mr. Adams' request?
No, sir, I will not.
Oh, very well, I'll withdraw it.
Oh, good for you, John!
I'll speak to the printer about it later.
Very well, gentlemen. We are about to brave a storm in a skiff made of paper. And how it will end, God only knows.
That's a mighty large signature there, Johnny.
So Fat George in London could read it without his glasses. All right, gentlemen, step right up and don't miss your chance to commit treason.
Right. This paper is our passport to the gallows. But there's no backing out now. For if we don't all hang together, we shall most assuredly hang separately.
In my case, hanging won't be so bad. One snap and it'll be all over. Just like that. And look at right there. They'll be dancing a jig long after I'm gone.
Gentlemen, forgive me if I don't join in the merriment, but if we're arrested right now, my name's the only one on the damn thing.
From the Commander, Army of the United States, dispatch number 1209 to the Honorable Congress, John Hancock, President. Dear Sir, I can now report with some certainty that the eve of battle in New York is near at hand. For this end, I have ordered the evacuation of Manhattan and directed our defenses to take up stronger positions on the Brooklyn Heights. At the present time, my forces consist entirely of Haslett's Delaware militia and Smallwood's Marylanders, a total of 5,000 troops to stand against 25,000 of the enemy. And I begin to notice that many of them are lads under 15 and old men, none of whom could truly be called soldiers. One personal note to Mr. Lewis Morris of New York. I must regretfully report that his estates have totally been destroyed, but that I have taken the liberty of transporting Mrs. Morris and 8 of the small children to Connecticut and safety. The 4 older boys are now enlisted in the Continental Army. As I write these words, the enemy is plainly in sight beyond the river. How it will end, only Providence can direct. But dear God, what brave men I shall lose before this business ends. Your obedient, G. Washington.
Very well, gentlemen. McNair, go ring the bell.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Morris.
The hell with New York. I'll sign it anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Sit down, Stephen.
No, I want to remember each man's face as he signs.
Very well. Mr. Johnson?
New Hampshire, Dr. Josiah Bartlett. Massachusetts, Mr. John Adams. Rhode Island, Mr. Stephen Hopkins. Connecticut, Mr. Roger Sherman. New York, Mr. Lewis Morris. New Jersey, the Reverend Jonathan Witherspoon. Pennsylvania, Dr. Benjamin Franklin. Delaware, Mr. Caesar Rodney. Maryland, Mr. Samuel Chase.
enough influence to go down there and persuade the House of Burgesses.
Damn me if I haven't thought of someone. Oh, me!
Oh, why didn't I think of that?
Hell, I'll leave tonight. I'll leave right now, if you like. I'll go to Stratford and refresh the missus, and then I'll get straight to the matter. Virginia, the land that gave us our glorious commander-in-chief, George Washington, will now give the continent its proposal on independence. When Virginia proposes, the South will follow, and when the South goes, the middle colonies go. Gentlemen, a salute to Virginia, the mother of American independence.
Incredible! We're free and he hasn't even left yet. What makes you so sure you can do it?
Ha!
Of course, if we can find a Virginian with enough influence to go down there and persuade the House of Burgesses.
Damn me if I haven't thought of someone.
Oh,
me!
Now, why didn't I think of that?
Hell, I'll leave tonight. I'll leave right now, if you like. I'll go straight to Stratford and get right to the matter. Yeah, Virginia, the land that gave us our glorious commander-in-chief. George Washington will now give us the proposal on independence. And where Virginia goes, the southern colonies go. And where the southern colonies go, the middle colonies go. Gentlemen, a salute to Virginia, the land and mother of American independence.
Incredible! We're free and he hasn't even left yet. What makes you so sure you can do it?
Ha!
Virginia's views on independence are well known. Your legislature in Williamsburg has now formally authorized this delegation here in Congress to support the cause. Of course, if we can find a Virginian with enough influence to go down there and persuade the House of Burgesses.
Damn me if I haven't thought of someone.
Oh,
me!
Now, why didn't I think of that?
Well, I'll get straight to the matter. I'll go to Stratford and refresh the missus, and then I'll be off. Virginia, the land who gave us a glorious commander-in-chief. George Washington will now give the continent its proposal on independence. When Virginia proposes, the South will follow. And when the South goes, the middle colonies go. Gentlemen, a salute to Virginia, the mother of American independence.
Incredible! We're free and he hasn't even left yet. What makes you so sure you can do it?
Ha!
Oh, be sensible, Bartlett. Remove those phrases and the entire paragraph becomes meaningless. And it so happens it's among the most stirring and poetic of any passage in the entire document. Good God, Jefferson, don't you ever intend to speak up for your own work?
I had hoped that the work would speak up for itself. They will follow us. To the right, and the right, and the left, forever to the right. Where they go, and the low, and the low, I sing Hosanna, Hosanna, in a sing and lucid manner. We are no better. Consider it then, 'cause life is
here, John, to be preserved for posterity. Don't you like it? As ever, the soul of tact.
Well, the man is no Father Joe.
And the subject's no Venus.
Franklin, you've heard what I suffered in there.
Oh, I heard, John, along with the rest of Philadelphia. Lord, your voice is piercing, John.
I wish to heaven my arguments were. My God, Franklin, when will they make up their mind? With one hand, they can raise an army, dispatch one of their own to lead it, and cheer the news from Bunker's Hill. While with the other, they wave the olive branch, begging the king for a happy and permanent reconciliation. Why, damn, in fact, George has declared us in rebellion. Why in bloody hell can't they?
John, really? You talk as if independence were the rule. It's never been done before. No colony has ever broken away from the parent stem in the history of the world.
Damn it, Franklin, you make us sound treasonous.
Do I?